Andrea Tosten. Welcome! I'm glad you're here. We're going to be covering italic calligraphy in 3 parts. In this part, we're going to be covering tools, how to hold your pen, making your own line guide, and warm-ups. Lowercase, numbers, and uppercase will be covered in parts 2 and 3. So let's get started. Today, I will use an oblique cut slanted nib size C3 by Speedball. These nibs are also available with the slant cut in the right direction for left-handed calligraphers. As you can see, the slant corresponds to the hand it's for. Left cut slant for left-handed calligraphers and right cut slant for right-handed calligraphers. Here's a closer look. I am using a wooden pen holder with a cork grip. Two-way pen holders are also available in case you want to have a different nib at either end. Other tools available for either right or left-handed calligraphers include felt tip calligraphy markers. I wouldn't use these for major projects, but for practice or basic layout, they're okay. I also like Pilot parallel cartridge pens. Parallel plate nib technology allows you to produce very clear lines. Both are straight cut. We have our Ames Lettering guide, a mechanical pencil, along with some tracing paper and a T-square. I will use the holes above the number 10. I'm going to skip every other hole to create the lines we need for italic calligraphy. The circle in the middle rotates to adjust the space between the lines that you will draw. Use the numbers near the bottom of the circle to calibrate the size of the space. Each number represents 1/32 of an inch. I am going to use 8. It best creates the lines that we need for italic. The handwriting style we will cover in this series. 8 equals 1/4 of an inch between each line. You will place your mechanical pencil in the hole above the number 10. Put the mechanical pencil firmly in the hole, but gently enough to allow the lettering guide to glide smoothly along the T-square. Skip a hole and repeat the process. You will have 7 lines for your first section. The first line is the cap line. This line is the X line or waistline. This line is the baseline, and this line, the drop line. Turn your lettering guide upside down to access the line or edge that you will use to create the 10 to 15 degree slanted lines. You can space these lines however far apart you would like. Today, I'm going to space them 1 inch apart. You can draw one section and use an image editing software to complete your sheet or draw out the whole page. Here is my completed lettering guide. For practice or for layout, I prefer marker paper because it doesn't buckle and it's translucent. Now we'll go back to the pen holder with the C3 oblique cut slanted nib. Notice the reservoir here. This is where we will deposit ink. I'm using Pelican ink because it has great flow. This is our 10 to 15 degree slanted line. This is the cap line, this is the waistline or X line, this is the baseline, and this the drop line. Many of our letters take place between the X line and the baseline. Label the lines if you like. Your pen needs to be held at a 45-degree angle for italic. Begin by drawing a square. Remember from geometry class that a square cut this way equals a 45-degree angle. There's no need to turn your pen after this. Holding your pen this way creates beautiful thick and thin strokes in your lettering. The direction of your stroke also affects the thickness of the lines. Notice the hairlines and the swells. The way your lines terminate reflect the 45-degree angle. Remember to go nice and slow, keeping your shoulders, arms, and wrists relaxed. Establish consistent ink flow. Now that we've established consistent ink flow, let's warm up. Keep a scratch pad next to your practice pad. Vertical lines along the 10 to 15 degree slanted lines are a great way to start. Many of your letters will contain ascenders, descenders, or stems that will go great along these lines. Horizontal parallel lines are also good practice. They help you establish consistency in spacing. Vertical parallel lines also accomplish this. Throwing in a few curved lines and O's in your warm-ups is a good idea. You can pretend there's an axis going through your O's, and then when you're practicing wavy lines, the straight lines that you incorporate, you can run along your slanted lines. Or you can do like Portlandia and stick a bird on it. Warm-ups are a great time to practice some flourishing as well. I like to use these squiggly lines to establish consistent spacing, come up with borders. I also like to use these squiggly lines as hyphens in my italic writing. You can reestablish your 45-degree angle anytime. If you are having ink flow problems or are finished writing, take a scrap piece of paper, fold it in half, and run it through the reservoir of the nib. Then, get a wipe or a moistened paper towel or cloth and wipe down the nib. Be sure not to leave any fibers or moisture behind to corrode your nib. We've warmed up. Now let's write. And share your progress on Instagram and or Facebook.